Hey everybody, welcome into Variant Intel episode 12. Today's our special guest is Cheesecake Jake. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, man. I'm checking the levels, making sure everything's good. The wires are still all connected. Everything's running, I think. Yeah, man. Tell us. So you're a variant. For those that don't know you, you're a variant in the existence. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what's going on with Cheesecake.
Well, other than video games, I'm a family man. I got two kids and a wife, so that's what most of my time is spent doing. But I've spent the past 15 years as a chef, the last 10 years as a professional chef. So that's what 15 years. It's cooking most of the time. Other than that, it's video games. And since Dead Drop's come out, since Snapshot 5, I should say, that's when I first got a tower key. I actually didn't become a variant until maybe like 2 months ago.
Okay.
But I am part of the Day Zero community, and I've followed everything ever since. And man, I remember watching the event live, and as soon as Doc said they were releasing the tower keys, I was like, "Oh my god!" Got right in it, and then been hooked ever since.
I don't blame you, man.
Yeah.
So you said you kind of jumped in a couple of months ago. Is that right?
Yeah, as soon as the tower keys came out, that was when I got to play.
Oh, okay. But when did you get your founder's pass?
Maybe, God, yeah, maybe almost 2 months ago. I'd say a month and a half ago is when I
Okay.
finally got one. Yeah.
So you found it kind of secondhand on the market. Like, was
Yeah,
there
yeah,
any good deals
yeah.
going on?
At the time, I think so. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I was happy to pay whatever. You know what I mean?
Hey, I don't blame you. Look, here's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, these variant NFTs, these founders passes are only going to become more valuable because
Yeah.
it's not just that, it's kind of an interesting pardon me, an interesting thing in the dead drop community when you're talking about Web3, right? Because you hear Crypto Sash talk about it, and Bryson and some of these other guys that are deep into it. And out of all the Web3 games out there, the dead drop founders pass NFT probably has some of the most utility out of any NFT out there.
Yep.
And I'm not saying everything. I'm by no means an expert, folks, but what it gives you as far as it's not just access to the game. There's a lot of things that are going to be coming in the future that
Yep.
will, voting rights and different, different accesses in the Discord. I know that one of the biggest things that has me excited about it is it will carry over to other games that Midnight Society creates
Yes.
other than just Dead Drop. So that's huge,
That's the
right?
biggest thing for me is like, and you see it in all of our Twitter bios and everything. It says Midnight Society founder. It's not
Yeah.
just you just bought an NFT to get access to a game. You're
Yeah.
a part of the company. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a
I mean,
good
it's
feeling
kind of
to be
like,
a part of it.
yeah, it's kind of like buying a skin in a game, and then like when that game's done and the new game comes out, you didn't own it, you have no ownership, so
Yep.
that's just gone, and that's been a hot topic of controversy. We're not here to dive into that too much, but the point is like when you get the founders pass, you really own it, you really own
Yeah.
something, and there's going to be things that are going to carry over to their next games in some form or fashion that by having that founders pass, you'll have access to. So yeah, if you have the ability to go out on the open market on OpenSea and pick one up, like this community is unlike anything else. And look, you by no means need a founders pass to be part of this community. On the contrary, this community is, I've said it many times in previous episodes and talking with other people, like this community is one of the most open, inclusive, like just really down to earth group of people you'll ever meet. So we invite everybody to come hang out, even if you can't play the game yet. Like, let's say you're on console, because they're still working on that. Like, you can still be a part of the Discord and join in on the conversation. The staff and the Night Command folks that mod the Discord, they're always responsive. They're always very helpful, and there's always someone around to answer your questions. So come on into the Discord for Midnight Society, hang out, get to know us, get to know Dead Drop. It's a lot of fun, and if you happen to get a hold of a tower key, then hey, we're gonna have some fun. So, so Cheesecake, tell me, did anything new happen this week? I don't think so, right? Like nothing crazy, right? Nothing like
Nothing
a new
too
reveal or
much.
nothing, right?
No, I think we're
No, like crazy bombs dropping for like reveals, right?
not
I'm
much.
like,
Yeah.
man, it's getting stale. They really need to do something. I'm telling you. No, no. In all seriousness, we had a huge reveal for, well, like a teaser for Snapshot 6. The first graphic they showed us was a few days ago, just the Roman numeral 6. We're going to get into that. They also have an event later tonight after
Yep.
Variant Intel. They're going to be doing a what would normally be Friday night dead drop, but tonight is special. Tonight is Capture the Dev. And if you manage to capture a variant tag from a developer and you can call them out who it is, you the more you do that, the higher chance you have of getting that first place prize. I believe between first, second, and third, there's $500 total that's split up between those.
Hmm.
And there's even going to be some mystery merch. So if you can play Dead Drop and you want to get on tonight, tonight is going to be way more populated. It's going to be packed servers. So be sure
I
to
know.
jump in and let's try to get in on that, man.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, I don't know what devs are playing exactly yet, but if I know anything, if Rob's available, he loves to sneak in, man.
Uh-huh.
He
Yeah.
loves to sneak in and cause chaos. So,
I'm pretty sure it said something that their tags were going to be different.
right, yeah,
Like
because
they,
you have to kind of like figure out who it is, right?
yeah, so that we know that their name's going to be different,
Yeah,
but
I'm
like I
guessing
wonder
by
if the variant,
proximity chat, maybe.
yeah, but I wonder if the variant tag itself, like eventually when we can like display them or something, if it's going to look different in our stash, you know?
Yeah, we're gonna get into that because I kind of got off track there with this event, but like, so we got the Snapshot 6 reveal date of July 11th, so
Hmm.
that's coming soon, and then we have the Capture the Dev event. Now, the graphic they showed for the Capture the Dev event. Hey, kitty, I got a little fur ball like that at my house, man. He's something
Yeah.
else. We'll have to talk about that sometime. Yeah, no, he's cool. Finley's awesome. So the graphic they showed had a lot of teasers going on in it, man.
Yeah.
And we talked about this a little bit earlier today on the Variant Roundtable Twitter Spaces, which, by the way, that's a new thing. So if you want to tune in at lunchtime, 1 p.m. Eastern every Friday, we do a Twitter Spaces Variant Roundtable where anybody in the community can come in and we can all talk about Dead Drop. So I highly encourage that. Plugs out of the way, the graphic. So the graphic has what looks like a table from the hideout with 4 helmets on it. All of the
Hmm.
visor cortexes have question marks. They also have different colored striping on them.
Yeah.
You know, hint at squads, maybe. We don't know. There's also some smoke grenades and a new frag grenade we haven't seen yet. So that's cool. And even the training dummy is wearing an armor vest, which is new.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the hideout before. So we got all that. And then the big bombshell drop they did on us yesterday, I think it was this cinematic trailer reveal of some really mysterious characters, and it said "Cleaners deployed, Alliance
Yeah.
unknown." So yeah, they've had a lot this week to tease us with. So I guess starting off first, like, why don't we go ahead and start with the graphic with the Roman numeral 6, and talk about the color aesthetic. So, what's some things you noticed right out of the gate? I'll just let you take it from here.
Well, it's like the weather, the sky is like totally different. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem as dark. It seems like it's more at like dusk.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering if it's, I mean, it could be another sector. It could be into the proving grounds thing.
yeah,
But I don't know. I was looking at it and I'm wondering if that sky could be like maybe space dust actually floating around in the
oh,
air.
everyone's having a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
But that could also be why, I don't know. It kind of looked like the main, if I don't know, the guy in the center, the one, it looked like he had more like tubes coming off of him
yeah, yeah,
or
like
something.
Bane or something.
Yeah, I wonder if they have a mask. Maybe it helps him breathe in it.
Yeah, you
But I was
merely
wondering.
adopted the dark. I was born in it. We're gonna Bane confirm people. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. But so in the sector that we're at right now, there's a whole nother section of it that we don't have access to. And you can see it from the map. You know what I'm talking about? That it's like that tram basically with all the space dust on it. I wonder if where that new trailer took place in was the other side. That's, I don't know. I was
You know, it could
thinking of
be
it, and
a
maybe they
lot
could
of,
be opening
yeah,
up
man.
the
We
sector.
I know Cairo and Mayor were talking about this at length. Mayor did a whole video on it. Cairo did too, because he actually got the kill cam to fly over there,
Yeah,
which was really
yeah,
cool. Shout out to Cairo for that. But the yeah, like expanding Sector 3 has been talked about at length from the community, which is always a possibility. And I'm curious. I think Rob said in his AMA that their biggest hesitation with that was the size of lobby that they were planning on allowing didn't
yeah,
coincide with, like, it didn't justify opening that up.
yeah.
So that probably saved them some development time too, you know,
Mhm.
because when Cairo did the flyover, it wasn't complete by any means.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's a lot of it's drawn out, but it wasn't, you know, complete by any stretch of the imagination. So it could be that. I have been saying all week since this teaser dropped that I think it could be a new sector entirely, because
Yeah.
you know, and I did a video on this too, where that orange fiery aesthetic
Yep.
is just spot on to this concept art we got for Sector 5, which is named the Foundry. That's a
Yeah.
code name right now. These concept arts, you know, are never finite. Like, things can change. It's open development.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, when you think about messaging and visual language, like, this is very blatant, right?
Yeah.
And it does. You look at the concept art, it's like a 1-to-1. So I'm on the boat of, like, I think we're getting a new sector. But to what you said earlier, you mentioned the proving ground. So give us a little reminder of what that is and how that works.
So from what I know, the proving grounds is going to be another access to another sector that might not necessarily be finished. So we can go in there, play it, and give our feedback to it. And before the sector is actually fully released to us, it has to pass through the proving grounds, essentially.
Yeah, and I think our slowly becoming our resident lore expert, Spaceman. I am
Yeah.
Spaceman on Twitter. I'm gonna just call him the lore daddy at this point, because he's putting in the work, man. So shout out to
Yeah.
Spaceman.
Him
I've been
and Shots will fire
Shots
are
too.
going
Yeah,
to
shout
keep
out to
on the
Shots. He
lore.
was
Yeah.
on the roundtable earlier, and he
Yeah.
also is. And hey, I'm jumping on that train with these guys. So,
Yep.
but they were saying that, and to my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, I make sure I'm saying this right. The proving grounds in the lore is supposed to be like the variants coming together and kind of recreating a space that they're getting ready to infiltrate, which is coming next. Whatever the next sector is that's coming in the
Okay.
game, right? I think
Yeah.
that's how it's supposed to work. So, but proving grounds, like you were saying, is technically like an unfinished space. So are you saying, like, you're theorizing that we could potentially be getting like another, like, maybe it's not a full blown sector, but like maybe a
Yeah. Yeah.
blocked out
Like a
early
teaser,
revision?
basically. Not even really a teaser, but maybe the preview before the next snapshot. Like, this is what we should, just so we can all play it and then give them more advice as to what we think it needs.
Yep.
Because the guy's putting in a lot of time. Cairo, Spicy Dingle,
Yep.
Shots will fire. They're the ones figuring out a lot of what's going on in the game, and then we find out secondhand in the Discord.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if
No.
anybody's gonna find out what needs to be fixed or any bugs, it's gonna be those guys.
Oh, absolutely, man. And I'm meanwhile, HelmetFire's over here like, hey, what did Spaceman post next? Like, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to keep up, because I really like the lore, and, like,
Yeah, me
so
too.
just kind of a quick refresher for the listeners. So Dead Drop takes place in the year 2020B, right? So it's like this alternate reality set in the tone of the 80s. And it has a little bit of sci-fi, but it's got a little bit of realism too, and it's all about these climate wars. And the
Yeah.
huge tower that you see is called the Refiner State, and it's made up of multiple sectors, to be 7 total to be exact. That's what the developers are aiming for once they get to a complete status for the game. It'll be 7 sectors, right? So this game's going to be built out one sector at a time, but every sector is part of the larger whole that is the Refiner State, and the whole economy of the existence of the world of Dead Drop is space dust. And
Yep.
that Refiner State, that's what they do in there. They make space dust. It's like a refiner. So it's really interesting premise, you know, and the more we start getting these little tidbits and visual language from the artist on what these sectors look like and how they're being built out, I'm right there with you guys. Like
Yeah.
I'm just fascinated, and I can't wait to learn more. Speaking of other world building things, we got this Space Bob character. Tell us about that and what's going on with Space Bob.
I mean, as far as I know, Space Bob is going to be somebody that's going to be in our hideout that we're going to be able to interact with. He might be in the sectors. He's a character that the community kind of created, which I think is the coolest thing
Yeah,
ever. Too,
I
the
had to
fact
get an
that
education.
yeah,
I had to get an education on Space Bob. Space Bob is, I think you're right, where it is this community kind of came together to bring him into the
yeah,
existence, but Space Bob in totality is really something else that is historical to gaming in terms of. I'll just let the fans Google that. But as far as Dead Drop's concerned, it's something that the community has like, kind of like, and the developers have willed into existence. So
mhm,
we don't know for sure what role he'll play. We're just speculating, but yeah, I agree with your speculation that I think he could end up being a vendor in the
that's what
hideout,
I think. Yeah,
or an NPC that we see in the world. And my hope
mhm,
personally is that he has some exotic wares that we can procure if we meet the right
yes,
requirements, right?
right, yeah.
And
I
then
think he's going to be like a merchant of sorts.
that would be cool. That would be
Yeah,
cool. I just kind of hope that like if I do whatever he asks and then I get to buy the thing from him, that I get to make it out alive, you know,
gosh, I know.
before Cairo comes and snipes me in the head because, bro, daddy chill, right? It's like
Well, you know what? This is honestly an interesting point, is because right now, between the people playing the game pretty much plays like a royal, right? You can extract if you want, but we've pretty much, since we're all our stashes are pretty much maxed out, we've pretty much all decided that we're staying for the dead drop, right?
Yep, yep.
But as the game progresses, like, this is an extraction shooter, so people will be extracting more and more often. You know, we got to remember that it's not a BR yet until like UGC mode comes out. But
Oh,
you know,
UGC, that's a whole nother topic, man.
yeah,
You know, I don't expect UGC to come with Snapshot 6. I think it's a little bit early for that.
yeah,
I would be surprised if it shows up in 7, but
yeah,
7, the only thing we have any speculation on about Snapshot 7 is the car,
yeah,
because in the variant guide there's a picture of a car and the license plate says 7.
yeah,
And we know that the developers are already working on it and testing things, and they're very excited because, again, like I've heard some of them talk about it in AMAs and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
And but UGC to me sounds way more in depth with, you know, because for those that aren't aware, so UGC stands for user generated content.
Hmm.
Midnight Society's goal is to provide the players with the same tool sets that they use to create content. So imagine like Halo Forge mode, but probably a little bit beefier in its tool set and capability, is
Hmm.
the way I understand it.
Yeah, that's the
So
way at first I thought it was going to be something similar to Fortnite, but then I heard Robert Bowling
mm,
talking about how it would be more similar to Halo Forge,
mhm.
and that just sounds so awesome. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean, even if, I mean, Halo Infinite Forge is pretty robust. I mean, I remember when Forge was out in Halo 3, and, you know, obviously every iteration since then has just been crazier and crazy. I mean, the stuff that, you know, shout out to the Halo community, the stuff that those people
Hmm.
create in Forge is unreal. I mean, so if we get something
Yep.
like that or better for Dead Drop, I think we're in a good spot. So, and I know there's so many people in the community that are looking forward to that, because you're talking about creating custom game modes,
Yeah.
custom, you know, maps, obviously, and who knows what else, party games. I mean, I'm so excited that that is something that Midnight Society has decided to lean in really hard on, because they know that the community is, you know, they're developing openly,
Hmm.
and you know they know that the community is just gonna uh, take it, run with it, create this content, have a blast, and I kind of wish more developers would take this approach. Personally, you know, it doesn't really, in my opinion, like when you take a game like Halo, right? It has campaign and it has multiplayer, right? And even ranked, I think, and they got some other stuff. But you know, Forge, in my opinion, for Halo, allowed Halo 3 and Halo 4 and Halo 5 even to just have such longer legs
Yeah.
than they
Yes.
probably
Yeah.
would have without it, right?
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
I definitely agree.
especially Halo Infinite. You know, I feel bad for Halo Infinite. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, super rocky launch. Um, without Forge, I don't know if anybody would still be playing it at all. Like,
Yeah.
like I mean, that's probably a little exaggerated, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? So,
Yeah, no, I definitely
so Dead
understand.
Drop having UGC is really exciting. You know, so anyway, getting back to Snapshot 6, let's talk a little bit about this teaser image for the Capture the Dev event. So we talked about it a minute ago. 4 helmets on the table, question mark visor cortexes, different color stripes. The first thing I thought was squads, right?
Yeah.
Now that is something that's been highly requested by a lot of the community members. What is your, when you saw this image? What are some takeaways that you saw, and what are your predictions for based on those teasers?
Well, honestly, the question marks on the visors, I think, is more related to the event than in the long term. I think it's because it's like who's the dev behind the visor. I think that's what the question mark kind of stands
Oh
for.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I
You
didn't think of
know,
that.
the colors on the visors or on the helmets though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's either linking or it's either coming back to we're getting some sort of customization to our character because I know that Doc and Robert Bowling have said that they want us to really focus on our character and the customization side of it. But yeah, which I'm so excited
Oh man,
for.
I'm ready.
As soon as we can like customize our character, even if it's like we have to go loot like a can of paint to change the color of whatever we're wearing. As soon as we can do that and be unique in the game, oh,
Yeah.
I'm just so excited for it.
You know, to I just thought of something. So that idea is something I I don't play Tarkov, so and I don't have a lot of experience with games like Tarkov. To be completely honest,
Yeah,
extraction shooters I'm still pretty new at. I've seen a lot of gameplay of Tarkov and everything, but to your point, the idea, so like let's say you take a game like Diablo 4 and you know that you can farm for certain gear, right? Certain
yeah,
gear sets or certain like a certain helmet perhaps, right?
yeah,
And the game does have a handful of different dye colors to change it from like red, blue, green, orange, yellow, gray, stuff like that, right? And but it's kind of universal over the entire armor piece. Um, but the way you get those is to just farm dungeons or a pretty run of the mill stuff for any action RPG or any loot based game. Dead Drop presents a unique opportunity, I think, where it's an extraction shooter. So, like you said, like if I like in Snapshot 4, if I wanted my car to have red paint, I had to go find a can of red
yeah,
paint in the world.
yeah.
So in my brain, I like with what you said, I'm like, okay, so we have
Sorry about
quite all right.
that.
In my mind, if you have like, let's say I've got this vest and this vest is sick, but I want the black on black. Well, I got to go find a can of black spray paint. But then
Yeah,
like maybe my helmet, I want it red. Well, I need to go find a can of red spray paint. So the
yeah,
idea of like it, like fighting a boss or an AI enemy to get a piece of loot, yes, I
yeah,
want that. But also the prospect of finding something in a random corner that's like pretty rare, and I could be walking around like, yo, I got the black on black vest, and they're like, yo, where did you get that paint can? Because it's a special one. Well, I found it out in the world, and like
yep,
nobody else has seen it drop, right? Like I
yep.
love the idea of that, I think that's super cool, and I think
Hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if Dead Drop implements stuff like that. It's been theorized that there will be like there will be a storefront for cosmetics, but
Hmm.
also there will be cosmetics unique to drops in the world that you can only get from extracting out of the world.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it just kind of plays into that. So that's super cool. But you mentioned earlier in the roundtable, when you hopped in, when we were talking about the visor cortexes and displaying stuff. What was your theory on uh, the hideout and how that would work? What were you saying about that earlier?
So I think in the hideout for sure, like that we're gonna have some sort of area within it with the visor cortexes that we can put them in, see who they are. And but as to what I was saying though, I think, at least what I think it would be really neat to in game, like in the future when it launches, say somebody has a Cheesecake Jake tag and they go into their hideout, put it into the helmet to display it, it brings up a profile of the actual owner, you know, the
Oh yeah,
variant who actually owns it
that would
at
be
that time.
so sick. Like, yeah, like imagine, yo, Robert Bowling, I took him out. I've got his visor cortex
Yes.
displayed, boom, right here in my hideout.
Yeah.
That would be so freaking cool.
Rather than it
I,
just saying variant quick Viper Romeo,
yeah,
it says variant quick Viper Romeo, aka Cheesecake Jake.
right,
And
right,
then
yeah.
maybe, yeah, I just think that would be awesome. I don't know.
That would be super cool, and I think that's where it makes the most sense because I know in the beginning like Founders Pass holders variants, like
Yeah.
those, you know, having our visor cortexes in game is very special. That's a very
Yes.
special thing that
Yeah.
Midnight Society did, and we don't want that diminished by having other characters be able to display it in game besides us.
Right. Yeah.
But to have it as a trophy in your hideout, perfect,
Yeah.
absolute perfect way to do it. Because the other thing Midnight Society said that they plan to do is make it so you can invite your friends into your hideout so they
Yes.
can see how you have yours displayed, which I think is perfect. Because then you can go in and say, you know, look at my trophy room, behold my stuff, right?
Yes.
Shout out to OMA. Yeah, like and then the only question becomes like, hey, how does you know, what's the limit on how many visor cortexes can be displayed? Because for some players, they're going to have a lot.
Yeah.
Another shout out about the Founders Pass in general. Something else that's really cool about it is, you know, there's only 10,000 that exist. I think 500 or so of those are for the developers, and the rest are just, you know, people own them or they're on the market and you can buy them. But here's the interesting thing with Dead Drop specifically, the way our visor cortexes display in game is very unique. Like all the other characters don't have an LED display on their mask. So what's going to happen is as this game evolves and grows and more players come into the world,
Yeah.
seeing a variant in the wild is going to become more and more rare. And
It's so interesting to think
I
about.
love that, right?
Yeah.
There's old school like Star Wars games, like I think it was like Star Wars Galaxies MMO or something back in the day, where like if you got to the rank of Jedi, you were someone who really put in just months and months of playtime, and it got to the point where if you were on a server and a Jedi showed up, like everyone kind of stopped what they were doing because it was like, whoa, wait a second, like this dude is like upper echelon, put in the time, put in the work, or whatever the status was, or however they got it. I don't know exactly,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's kind of what I'm getting at, right? Like the more and more people populate this game, the less and less and less you're
Yeah.
going to see a variant in person, which I think
Event-
is really cool.
Eventually there's going to be, you're going to go into a lobby and you're going to, like, we're going to be the only variant in the
Oh,
lobby.
and
You
that
know
won't
what I
take
mean? It's
long.
going to,
That won't
yeah.
take, you know, I mean, if there's 10,000 visor cortexes that
Yeah.
exist at all, now keep in mind, you know, like 500 of those are the devs, right? And then what percentage of the people that own visor cortexes will actually play on the regular, right? There's a lot of people that are
Yeah.
buying them on the market just to flip them, right?
Yep.
That
A
don't
lot of
even
them.
play.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are casual players that may not log in all the time either, right? So
Yep.
you're talking about a very small percentage of 10,000 that will even be live and playing on the regular. So, you know, it won't take long for this game to, again, seeing a variant's going to be very rare. You
Yeah.
know, I'm looking forward to playing streams with some of the fellow variants where we just go in, hopefully as a squad of variants, and start making clips and just seeing the reactions. Like we've already started to see it where some of the tower key holders that have jumping in the claws are like, yo, dude, those variants masks are super cool. Like, you know, so like I said, folks, having a founder's pass is just a cool experience. But
Yes.
the best part of it all is again, this community is very open and welcoming. You're not going to get, it's very unlikely that you're going to run into somebody that's just a jerk and
Yep.
And with the proximity chat, it's been great because I've been in a group of variants where we run into claws, and they're like, "Yo, that's cool," like, "I love your visor cortex." It's like, "That's pretty cool." Like, and we'd be like, "Here, come team up with us, man. Let's go
Hmm.
get some loot. What kind of loot are you looking for? Right? Let's go shopping."
Yeah, it
Come on,
happens from time to time.
we'll go pay a
Yeah.
visit to Jimmy V and work something out. So
Or
yeah,
Space Bob's
Space Bob's
soon enough.
selling the goods, man. Let's go. So,
Oh man.
what are some other ideas that you think might be coming, man? What are you excited about? What's Cheesecake thinking about, man?
I'm thinking about gadgets a lot.
Oh yeah,
Things that
let's
are coming
tell
to
me
the
about
game
it.
that
Talk
are
all about it.
so we know we're getting the wingsuit, right? At least it's pretty much
It's
been
well, they've talked about it.
confirmed. Now, with a wingsuit would be rad, but one that I've been putting in the Discord a lot in the suggestions is a grappling hook.
Yeah.
I think a grappling hook would be great. Maybe you get one or two uses out of it. And I just picture like in the center of the map, I forget the name of it, but when you're going up it's kind of like winding around. Eventually you get to
Oh,
the
by the
elevators
crane
that
and
bring you up.
everything.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm thinking right there, imagine if you had a grappling hook and you have another way to either get up or down just a level, or it could be used as something to swing.
Oh, dude, that'd
I
be
don't
so
know.
cool.
I just picture it.
I
And
hope they add in, like, if they do add a grappling hook, I hope that they do that. They give it like swinging physics,
yes,
like
that's what I think of. Yeah.
yeah, we I kind of touched on this earlier today, but like I if when I think about gadgets, I want them to, whatever their purpose is, I want them to be powerful, but I also don't want them to be spam. So I think like maybe
Yeah.
limited uses
Well,
depending on
yeah.
what the gadget is. Like a grappling hook, I could see that being like a 2 or 3 time use before it's burnt, you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, even with the grenades right now, I mean, they're honestly kind of a rare item in the game, and you can only hold 3 on you equipped at one time before you
Yeah.
have to go into your inventory. But I mean, when you find them, you only find one. And so the grappling hook, I mean, yeah. And even for the wingsuit, I guess if they added a wingsuit, I picture something with it's like maybe it's on, you have like a time limit of how
Yeah.
long you can use it for. So you either extract with it and that's it, or you have like 30 seconds of actual time where you can be flying with it. So,
Yeah, I could
you could,
see.
yeah, you could use it for like 10 seconds and then maybe you got like 20 more seconds to be able to use it.
Yeah.
But
I could see it being like like same thing, like the grapple, like a charge. Like you can
yeah,
use this one time. As soon as you fly and then land, that's it. It's burnt.
yep,
Like because yeah, like again, it's like you don't want people flying around like,
yeah,
constantly, right? Like that kind of breaks the game in my opinion, but like at the same time, if you get one, it should be very powerful. Like
yeah,
and when I say powerful, I just mean like in the context of the situation, right? Like it's like live or die extraction moment, right? Like I need to get from point A to point B right now because that extraction is going to close and I've got 3 other variants on my tail. I need to go right now. And
yep,
then boom, you use your wingsuit, you get out, everything's great. Maybe you get, and see, there's still risk though because you could hit the wrong button and fall to your death.
oh
You
yeah,
could get shot out of the air. You know what I mean? Like that's what's so cool about this game is like it does, they really prioritize risk reward, right? Even when you're looting.
yes,
It's like when
yeah,
you're looting, you are wide open, you know? So
yep,
yeah, there's all kind of cool gadgets I think they could do. There's people that have like I guess according to chat, ice picks have been mentioned by some of the
ice picks. That would be
you know,
that
like
would be
I don't
awesome.
I don't really know what we would do with that, but yeah, you know, there's been grappling hooks. I've talked about I've heard Doc talk about jump jet boots to like do a one time use where it negates fall damage.
Yes,
So
yeah,
again, if you need to get somewhere real fast or get away real fast, but
yeah,
you have to jump 4 stories to do it, you don't want to die. You
yeah.
use these jump jet boots to like cushion that and let you get away, right?
You're only going to really have a certain amount of time to even use them because the freeze is coming up. So it's not like you're going to be
Right.
jumping down somewhere. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you got to have a plan, almost be strategic about when you're going to use them.
Yeah.
The UAV drone is another one. So in a lot of the actual NFT pictures for a lot of the variants, you see them holding a UAV drone. Now I don't know if that's actually going to be something that comes into the game, because
That would be
honestly, in
cool.
Call of Duty's in Call of Duty, I kind of think the UAV can be kind of corny because people can spam it,
Yeah.
you know, and obviously this isn't like a team deathmatch style game or Warzone, but none the less, if there's some type of UAV, it's just got to be balanced right. I think rather than like showing where everybody is, maybe since it's a drone, it kind of just hovers above you, and
Hmm.
maybe it just lets you know that someone's near you within a certain amount of
Right.
space. But
Oh, I'm I'm all about it. Like gadgets are. I have a feeling that this is a game that will over time just constantly introduce new gadgets. You know what I
yes,
mean?
yeah,
Like it's just the setting of the game is so like just wide open for that in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if they start throwing in stuff that we've just never even thought of
yeah,
just to mess around with. And the cool thing is these are things that the community, especially the variants with voting rights, will most likely in the future be able to give input. Like maybe they introduce a gadget like jump jet boots or something, and then like
mhm,
maybe over the course of a few months, like people are saying yay or nay if they think it works or breaks the
yep,
game or needs to be retooled. These are things where being a founders pass holder, I'm sure our input will be taken a little bit more priority. Um, Not definitively, of course, but yeah, no, it's the gadgets, man. It opens up so many awesome plays and play styles and
yes,
different kind of, because everybody plays different, right? Maybe you want to play more stealth, right? Like if you could um uh you just want to play stealth, maybe, right? Maybe
mhm,
you need that little UAV so you can just know when to run and when not to run because your footsteps are loud, you know.
yep,
uh, so yeah, that's all cool stuff, and I'll be curious to see how that uh, comes together with UGC.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think that's going to provide a whole lot of really cool stuff. So you talked about the rising freeze for Snapshot 5 cold, Sector 3 cold storage. That's the unique shutdown mechanic for that one.
hmm
We have been told that each sector will have their own unique shutdown mechanics. So let's get into true tinfoil hat speculation mode. My question to you is, if we do indeed get a new sector, Sector 5, the Foundry, and it's all hot and, you know, everything space dust in the air or whatever it is, what kind of a shutdown mechanic do you think we could get? I mean,
it's got to be like fire or
right.
heat, right?
I mean, that's
But
the most obvious like guess, but
yeah,
like I mean, how would it work? What direction would it come from? Like, things like that. Like what could you see happening with that?
I don't. So I remember a lot. I mean, this was years ago too. At this point, probably, but Doc released a teaser image of what something could look like, and I almost remember it being like a rundown warehouse with like lava and fire, all this kind of
Oh
crazy
wow.
stuff. So I don't know if there could be. I mean, heat rises, heat and fire is going to come up. So maybe it starts with smoke and then there's fire underneath. So
Huh.
the smoke could start filling an area, and that's us coughing, kind of losing damage,
Huh.
warning us to get out. And then as soon as the fire hits us, we start really
Yeah.
taking damage.
Me personally, I would like to see the developers experiment with this. So, for instance, like maybe the smoke, gas or fire comes out of the vents from the top. And maybe instead of going straight down, it works its way through a predetermined two or three paths, right? So, like, let's say, and maybe this changes, and this is kind of getting ahead of myself because to develop what I'm saying is a lot more work than just making something rise up one direction.
Right.
But I'm thinking about like a randomized path. I don't know how many floors high this new sector would be, but let's say it's multiple floors. And let's say you have like a predetermined path that the fire and smoke will move. And maybe each match that changes. And, if you go down the wrong corridor, then you screwed up and the
Yep.
smoke and fire is going to get you, right?
hmm
I would like to see things like that. I would like to see them experiment. Obviously, for cold storage, it's a lot easier to develop something that just starts from the bottom and goes straight up. I would like to. I'm not saying it's easy to do that. I'm saying that as opposed to multi-directional
Right.
randomized,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
that takes more programming, I'm sure. So I am excited to see, like, if we get a new sector, you know, how will the new shutdown mechanic work, and you know, what kind of new strategies will we have to really think about when we're playing,
Yeah.
especially if we have teams. You know, now you're talking about the idea of possibly like coordinating, and what if, you know, we always got that one teammate that wants to go, but yeah, the smoke's coming from this way, but the loot is there. I need that.
Yeah.
Like, that's
I
gonna
cannot
happen,
wait for
right?
teams.
Like,
Yeah.
just thinking about this gets me excited, because I'm like, the loot and the way it's gonna work in this game changes everything.
Yeah.
Like, sure, there's gonna be players that want to get the dub and get that first place, right? But even for that player, there's gonna be something they want, or something that somebody has, that is going to supersede their will to win number one spot, right?
Yeah. You
They're gonna
gotta
be like,
extract.
damn, I can kill
Yeah.
that person, but man, I need that thing.
Yeah.
So, like, that's so exciting to me, man. What about you? Like,
I can't wait.
what are
You
some
know.
things about Dead Drop, or the prospect of what Dead Drop will be, that is probably got, what's your favorite idea about all of it?
Um the idea of the sectors probably being different, like different themes. So I've been thinking about wondering, like, so each sector is, I think, going to have specific loot to it. You know what
Oh,
I mean? So
okay. I
even
hadn't thought
maybe
about
even
that.
so, yeah. Like, and I can't really give you many examples as to what they are necessarily, but say like something that, you know, involves fire, you know, the frag grenades, even maybe those you can only loot in the new sector that we're getting, you know, so that gives you an incentive to have to go to a different sector rather than just cold storage,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
No, that's the whole thing, man. The whole thing is just super cool, and I like the idea that each sector will have kind of its own unique identity
Yeah.
and purpose that it fulfills within the refiner state. And I think more so, I'm really curious on how they'll each connect to each other, because
Yeah.
I actually asked the devs about this, and the answer I got was this. So the idea is to, when it's all said and done, to have 7 sectors that are all connected. And the idea is that you would drop into each match being able to navigate through all the sectors. And, you know, maybe you drop in on sector 3 on one match, and the next match you drop into sector 5 or whatever. But the idea that they put forth was that it's not that each sector will be a standalone drop in map. It's the goal for them, from what they've said, is that they want these, like, they want the 7 sectors to be the map, the whole
Yeah.
thing, where you can drop in at different points, and at any given moment, as things, you know, as sectors start to shut down, you got to think, crap, sector 3's shutting down, I got to get out of here and get to sector 4 or wherever
Yeah.
you're at, and, you know, figure that out, you know. So the whole prospect of that to me is very interesting.
The idea that or just thinking about the fact that I might be able to start at sector 1 and stay in a game for over an hour and make it all the way to sector 7, like, I mean, who's going to be the first person to do that,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know?
I hope there's a mode that does it that way. You know, like,
Yeah.
I don't know how long a normal battle royale match can last. Like, I've seen, what, 30 minutes easy,
It's about, yeah, 25
30,
to 30 minutes. Yeah.
25, 30 minutes. I mean, do I want to be in a match for an hour? Well, I think that depends. That brings up a really good question, because gamers,
Yeah.
I don't think we've really experienced that, or had a justification for that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with Dead Drop, if it goes the way we're talking, yeah, 7 sectors, these maps are huge. I mean, they're pretty big.
Yeah.
We don't even have all of sector 3, and it's
Yeah.
massive, you know. And so the idea of like 7 of those, and like you said, it's really just, can you can you and whoever make it to the end and make it through all the shutdown mechanics to a final extraction, or kill everybody in the lobby
Hmm.
first. You know, it's like, how long will that take? And even if it's an hour, I'm okay if it's an hour, as long as, you know, the content justifies it, right?
Right. Yeah, of course.
Like an
Yeah.
hour in a COD lobby BR doesn't make any sense. The
Oh my
map's not big
gosh.
enough. There's not enough
Yeah.
going on, you know. But in a vertical extraction shooter like Dead Drop, where it's very vertical, there's all these nooks and crannies packed away. Like, sure, I could see that being the case.
Yeah. And the point is, it's an extraction shooter. We're trying to get loot. You know, we're not just trying to win. You know, I mean, maybe if you're trying
Some
to
of us,
make it all
right?
the way through the sector. Yeah, I know, right?
Like trust me, there's gonna be all kinds of players, which that's another exciting thing, right? Dead Drop presents a way to play more than one way, right?
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be people that just I want to smoke everybody in the lobby, like
Yeah.
I'm out to get you, and then people like me, I'm like I need all the loot. I'm a loot goblin over here. Like I want the
Yeah.
best, most secretest, packed away stuff that I can add to my hideout. You know, that's what I want to do. No, you know, they're not gonna let me. They want to take me out, but whatever, you know. So, and hey, just saying though, if I see a developer, I'm coming for you.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
I
just putting
know.
that out there. Look, you have something very valuable that I can display in my hideout one day. I am coming for you. And
Honestly, at this point, I'm expecting all of us to just unite and just go after them.
oh, that's yeah. There's gonna be some wheeling and dealing going on. You watch. It's gonna be like, look, I hope they have a thing. So there's one thing that COD does that I find very interesting. That is, you can do like a if there's an opposing team, you can invite them to your team.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't seem like it's super popular in Call of Duty, but it could be in a game like Dead Drop, in my opinion. Because like
Yeah.
say you and I are rolling through Sector 3 or whatever, we see like one or two devs and we're like, all right, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. All right. What's it gonna be? You know? and and I would love the option to be able to team up if all parties agree, right? Because
Yeah.
then it's like, what loot are we exchanging with each other? Or maybe we don't even join up teams. Maybe it's like, all right, I'll let you go this one time, but it's gonna cost you, you know. Like the prox chat and all that stuff just makes all those
Yeah,
scenarios
seriously.
possible. And I hope we get all that. So for the devs listening, like I hope y'all have enjoyed listening to all this, because these are some what I think are fantastic ideas from Cheesecake and myself. And a lot of this also is echoed throughout the community. Like I said, when I do Variant Intel or the Roundtable on Twitter Spaces, you know, shout out to the community, Shots, Spaceman, Fat Shady, McCab. We got all these folks, you know, that are in the community putting up all these ideas, and there's just so much promise of, like, this game just has so much promise to it that we're all very excited about. So, as I like to always say, thanks to the devs and the staff for all the hard work you put in. We're absolutely having a blast. We're super hyped for Snapshot 6. We're kind of running at times. So, Cheesecake Jake, where can people find your content and where can people interact with you?
YouTube and TikTok mostly. I do upload to Instagram too. It's CheeseCakeJakeTV, just all across the board.
All right, super
So
easy, man.
yeah,
Well, look, man, I really appreciate you coming on. This is a blast, and I'm looking
yeah,
forward
blast.
to maybe we'll do it again sometime. If nothing
Yeah.
else, we'll be in the Discord. We'll be playing Dead Drop. And for everybody else out there listening, thanks so much for tuning in. This is our second live, doing it live. We're doing it live. And so far, so good. Everybody's been real interactive in the chat. We really appreciate everybody. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. But yeah, so remember, every Friday we're going to do Variant Intel podcast, and every Friday at lunchtime, 1 p.m. Eastern, we'll do a Variant Roundtable Twitter Spaces that you can join up and put in your 2 cents about Dead Drop. So be sure to join up, follow all the socials. For the YouTube crowd, be sure to subscribe, hit like on the videos. It really helps the channel grow. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And with that out of the way, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you all have a good one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the tower. Have a good one.